What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Now, I know that a lot of you are super bored right now, but we have the Bollinger Bands. I don't think these can get any tighter, guys. These are the tightest that they have ever been on the weekly chart ever. And we know historically, every time we get the Bollinger Bands this tight, we are looking for a crazy, crazy move. Now, this may be the week for Bitcoin because look what happened. We actually attempted to break below 29,000 and guess what? The whales scooped in. And if we zoom in right here, you can see this is one of the highest candles that we've had in quite some time. Now, why am I talking about the Bitcoin whales? Well, we need to follow what they're doing right now because there's not only something very interesting happening with the whales, but also if you look at futures derivatives right now, we are seeing something that we have seen before, and I'm going to let you know why I think we're going to potentially see that move very, very soon. There's also actually a new Bitcoin bet that's going around over on Twitter X, a little bit of a Bitcoin speculation, and as well as the ETF. I know it's been a lot of talk. Some people are bored hearing about the ETF. Well, there has been some speculation on what could be happening, and you're not going to believe what a former SEC official came out and had to say about not only the ETF, but Gary Gensler himself potentially being replaced by crypto-friendly Hester Peirce. Crazy, crazy stuff right now, plus PayPal. More news that a lot of people weren't paying attention to in the background. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to get into it. And like I said, guys, I think that your patience is about to pay off because I think we are due for a big, big move this week. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. You guys know the drill. Let's hop in. So I don't got to go over these Bollinger Bands anymore. I think you know exactly how I feel about that. And I mean, you could see right here, if you were going to play the game on this retest, this would be the area because you can see we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches. Now, I just want to let you know that I'm in the 3-day. So that's a lot more than just 6 days, right? That's 3-day candles. So we've been hovering here for quite some time. And the fact that the whales have still not allowed us to fall below these levels, I would have to say is actually pretty bullish. Now, of course, we have talked about a potential retest, okay, of the 25.3. I'm still not against that happening, but I am saying the fact that we continue to push up here is pretty impressive considering how boring the action has been, right? You could see that we're still pushing up against this original bottom. Now, this area, everybody thinks we're just going to fly right through it. Once we eventually do, yeah, that could be a possibility. But right now, we just have so much of this area of support. And that's, again, if we zoom in, that is where we're having that resistance. And you can see there's almost no more area. I mean, yes, we could theoretically just continue on, this forever bull flag. I mean, at what point do you not consider it a flag though, right? But really, this downward sloping parallel trend here is intersecting right here. And, you could see that we're looking for that move. Also, just to kind of point this out, this is very, this is technically you're putting in higher highs, right? I mean, you could say, oh, did it double top? Maybe, but of course we're at that very critical resistance. That's why we're having difficulty at that level. We have come out of the deep red in the guppy on the daily, and yes, we have gone back into the neutral, but really, if we look at this, all that's really ever done is just provide opportunities to essentially buy the dip, right? Once we get in that uptrend, anytime that we fall out of it, amazing opportunity to either long or buy the dip, right? Anything under here, same thing. So same scenario right here. If history was to repeat itself, even just in the past, just since this year, then ultimately you would be potentially looking at a good spot. Of course, if you guys do want to learn how to trade, I do recommend you guys check out those tutorials. Again, Bybit has a $8 million prize pool. So if you guys are interested in that one, there's a whole bunch of different deals and stuff below, 10% off, all these different things if you use the codes. So make sure you take advantage of that below. But again, guys, and get subscribed because we obviously go over this for free every single day, but you can eventually see what's happening is we keep finding this support, and the next area, especially over here on the futures, and we'll get back to the futures in a minute why it's so important, you are looking at a target of around 32.5, and we have a CME futures gap up here at 35.180. Now, Key Young Ju pointed out something very, very interesting. If we have a look at all these different, he's got BitMEX, Huobi, Deribit, Bybit, and the whales are opening giga longs, and these long positions are all in the $29,000 area. So you're seeing a lot of interest in the whales at this particular level. And something else really interesting that Ollie Charts pointed out is BitMEX specifically. Now, if you're newer to crypto, you might not know BitMEX. BitMEX is more of an OG leverage trading platform. It's not really, not a lot of newer people use it. Newer people are more like BitGet, Bybit, Femex, things like that. But there's a lot of old school OGs that, big whales that still trade on BitMEX. And like Ollie says, you rarely see these big spikes in volume, but when you do, Bitcoin tends to enjoy significant gains. So he points out back here, you had the taker buy-sell ratio in May 2020 rising to about 192. This led to a 567% price increase. So today, if you look at January 2023, he says you had it 140, resulting in an 88%. Right now, we're at 194. So this is actually higher than either of these previous two spikes, just to put that into perspective. So that could be absolutely huge. In fact, Adam Back says the bet is on. I bet Bitcoin reaches or exceeds $100,000 between now and the halving of next year. So he's basically calling for a $100,000 Bitcoin before March, or let's say April of next year. Obviously, it's based on the blocks, so we don't really know the specific date. But again, the market cipher indicator is, and this is some people were saying this is not the official one. TradingView just updated their stuff, the scripts. I have to get contact with service to get it put back on. But for now, you could still see that it's not as pretty looking. But we are, in fact, looking like this money flow wants to move. And once we get into the green, that's when we take off, right? Once we get out of the red. So you could see some of those similarities forming over here as well. But, getting back to this whole SEC ETF Gary Gensler thing, Earth is a security, right? Earth is a security. It is ridiculous because I retweeted this over on X, my X, I hate saying that, Twitter. XRP is now available on Gemini. It's important to note how we got here, though. Instead of creating clear rules for crypto, the SEC has resorted to suing everyone. It lost its case against Ripple, and a judge provided clarity when Gary Gensler wouldn't. America deserves better, right? In fact, I just have to take this quote. Someone was comparing the SEC to, I don't know if anyone has seen Ghostbusters. I would think most people have seen it. They're saying that Gary Gensler's direction, he's acting like Walter Peck, the fictional EPA agent from Ghostbusters. The regulator eventually orders the Ghostbusters to shut down a critical security measure. When it goes offline, the city is flooded with irksome ghosts. The SEC today is doing its best, Walter Peck. So you're not really helping, you're actually holding it back and potentially even making it worse. Now, before we get into the sort of big news, somebody actually asked, not ChatGPT, this was Google Bard, and they said, when do you think would be the most likely date for an ETF approval? And very interesting. I'd be curious to see. Somebody mark this down on the calendar. They say they would place the bet on December 9th of this year. This is based on my analysis of the factors mentioned above, as well as my gut feeling, because AI has gut feelings. December 9th, 2023 is a significant date because it's the day that the SEC is scheduled to hold a public hearing on the topic of spot Bitcoin ETFs. The hearing will give the SEC a chance to hear from industry experts and the public about the pros and cons of approving a spot Bitcoin ETF. I believe that this hearing will be a turning point in the SEC's review of spot Bitcoin ETF applications. So maybe we do, in fact, have to wait until the end of this year. Who knows? Maybe it won't happen. Now, according to former SEC official John Reed Stark, he doesn't see an ETF getting approved at all. But there's a catch. He says under this circumstance, so I'm going to go into this. He basically says that the SEC could potentially do a complete U-turn on its approach to crypto, depending on a key election in the US. So he's basically saying it kind of depends on what happens with the US elections, which isn't really giving me a lot of confidence because we still have a year and a half for these elections. I don't know if I can deal with another year and a half of Gary. The former SEC Office of Internet Enforcement Chief predicted that a Republican president could drastically shift the crypto regulatory tide, including the potential appointment of crypto-friendly Commissioner Hester Peirce to replace Gary Gensler as the agency's chairman. Stark noted Pierce's history of dissent and opposition to many of the regulators' crypto-related enforcement and explained that if Pierce were to become the head of the SEC, the world should expect that most U.S. SEC crypto-related enforcement and most crypto-related SEC disruption would grind to a screeching halt. Until such a time when a Republican sits in the Oval Office, Stark said it was unlikely that the regulator would become any more friendly towards crypto, predicting that the SEC will reject the current swath of Bitcoin ETFs for a range of compelling reasons, despite a number of industry heavyweights from, BlackRock and Fidelity. So, this guy's saying that he doesn't think it would be approved, but he does think that what we need is some sort of a Republican in the presidential office, right? Again, as far as I'm concerned, I don't actually. So I don't actually have a side. I don't really participate with either party. I'm more of a single issue type voter, I guess you would say. I vote more on topics, and I think really right now, I'm sorry, but this is my industry, this is my future, this is my interest. We need pro Bitcoin, pro cryptocurrency in this government. So, whether that comes from RFK, who's a Democrat, or somebody else who's, a Republican, in my opinion right now, we need to figure this out because we're falling behind. So that's where I take the stance from. I'm not supporting the anti-crypto army, right? Of course. So, it has nothing to do with party. I'm just not supporting that. So you do what you like, but I think if people are smart, a lot of people are going to wake up to the fact that we need to start going pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin, pro-digital assets and figure it out, because it is just not good how bad the U.S. is falling behind. And I know there still is an opportunity if we seize the day to, still have a place in this. But the longer we wait, the longer we kick the can down the road, the worse it's going to be, right? And that's why you got guys doing, PayPal, they're just doing it. They're just like, hey, we're just going to do it. So on top of their stable coin, which we all know that was the big news that came out the other day, they did update their terms and conditions, introducing a new feature. So they have Cryptocurrencies Hub, the new PayPal crypto service, which will allow users to hold and transact with Bitcoin in their PayPal account. According to PayPal, this feature will also be used to hold, buy, and sell cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. It will act as a gateway for users to pay for goods and services using cryptocurrency via PayPal. So we are seeing these services evolving, right? And I know I'm a little late to the party on this one because I didn't get an update out, but if you guys didn't hear, Donald Trump potentially holds up to around $500,000 in crypto in a filing he submitted to the Office of Government Ethics. He listed a crypto Ethereum wallet with a value between $250,000 and $500,000, and it appears to be connected to the line of non-fungible tokens that his campaign launched as a bid to return to the White House in 2024. So you guys remember the Trump NFTs. So yeah, I guess we'll end on that note. And if that's it for you guys, that's it for me as well. So, look at this again. We try to break out. I'm telling you guys, there's not a lot of room left to keep going sideways. This is just getting ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. And, it's like you can only wind up a spring, what's going to happen, right? It's either just going to, right? It's going to explode maybe like a jack. I don't know. But in other words, you guys understand. We're definitely looking for some massive volatility. I'm getting pretty excited. It's kind of boring over here, not really having any really good trades to put in, but I have a feeling once we get this next move, we're going to be having a good time. So that's it for me. Like I said, I don't know, my prediction for what it's worth. I do think that this is the week that we finally see some price movement for Bitcoin. But, I said that last week. So, I'm just a guy on the internet. Take what I say with a grain of salt, right? But again, thank you for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. And that's it. So until next time, stay crypto. Check these tutorials popping up right here, right now. And of course, peace out.